Hey everybody, Eric Hayden here in the garden today. I really appreciate the comments we get from subscribers and viewers of the channel. I got one comment from somebody that asked about the fertilizer program that I do here in the garden. I'm going to put it in the comment section of the video, the description, so it's not too complicated. I will go over some of the things I'm putting down into the garden today. So we're going to start off with what we put down in the garden and when. And we're going to try to keep it simple because you really don't have to make it overly complicated. One thing I do suggest is getting a soil test. These two ingredients that we're putting down in the garden today is just because that's what my soil is saying. I will be putting down some lime. The pH of a rose bed should be slightly acidic. You're aiming for 6.5, 6.7. I get the soil tested once a year. If you live in North Carolina and you do it, it's anytime from April through November. It's actually a free soil test. So I test each bed. I notice some of them are dropping into the lower sixes for pH, so a little too acidic. So I'll be putting down some lime today. Again, you don't have to do that, but I really want to recommend the soil test. The other reason why I soil test is, what are you lacking in the soil? We have very sandy soil here in eastern North Carolina. It's pure sand. Drains really well, but it's usually lacking potassium, that last ingredient. So some potash, 0030. I put this down a couple times a year, and slowly but surely the soil test has shown that it is increasing because of that application. Again, this is not something you have to do in your garden unless the soil test says to do it. So if you get anything out of this video before we get to the what in terms of all the fancy stuff, soil test, soil test, soil test. You may be lacking some certain things in your soil, and you really want to get that pH right before you just start throwing things down. So for me today, a little bit of lime and also a little bit of potassium. So the person asked the question, what should I do and when? The what, I would highly recommend getting your hands on a synthetic slow release fertilizer. A lot of folks go to the big box stores and get Osmocote. Very expensive, especially over the last year to 6 months. I get this from Core Farm. It's COOR Farm Supply in Smithfield. It's 21612. It's generic Osmocote. The advantage of this is a lot of it is slow release. Of the 21%, the nitrogen is almost 16% of the 21 is slow release. And then the middle number, phosphate, that is a slow release version. Excuse me, the potash is a slow release version as well. Of the 12%, 8% of that potash is slow release. So those first two numbers, the 21 and the 12% of nitrogen and potash, is slow release. Don't want to get overly complicated, but what this is it's a nice mix. It's a granular. We'll put this down in the garden and it will supply for the next, couple months. So really good slow release fertilizer. You can get Osmocote at the stores, but again, they're super expensive. I would try to find a farm supply. I bought this in 2020, and you see how many roses I have in the garden. Get it in a container like this. It's usually a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup per bush, depending on how mature it is. So you're not using a lot. If you just do this slow release a couple times a year in your garden, you're gonna be very happy. So that's the what, slow release fertilizer. If you wanna add a little bit more and build the soil, I certainly recommend it. You can't really go wrong with any of the tones, plant tone, rose tone, holly tone. Gotta keep in mind, I try to be frugal. Anytime you get a picture of a rose on the label, it's going to be more. So this is what I mean. I showed this in a prior video. This is 432. This is rose tone, feather meal, poultry manure, bone meal, alfalfa meal, green sand, sulfate of potash, 432. Very nice, organic fertilizer. Something you can get much cheaper, 434. Very similar numbers, and lo and behold, poultry manure, feather meal, bone meal, alfalfa meal, sulfate of potash. Same ingredients. The only difference with this holly tone is it has elemental sulfur. It will lower the pH of your garden, and that's why I'm trying to counteract that with my lime. So holly tone tends to be a lot cheaper because it doesn't have a picture of a rose on it. For example, this is a 27-pound bag. I usually get that for the same price as I do this 18-pound bag of the rose tone. So to recap, some type of synthetic, That's gonna be nice and slow in your garden. It's not gonna wash away. And then add in a cup of the one of the tones and you'll be good to go. So 1/4 to 1/2 cup per bush if it's a mature bush of the synthetic slow release, and then a good solid cup, maybe even 1.5 cups if it's a mature bush of one of the tones. That's it. That's all you have to do. What you're doing with the organics is you're building the soil for the future. I like to do a mix of both. The synthetics have a release or a purpose in the garden. The plant can't tell the difference, and it tends to be cheaper per pound than the organics, but the organics are building the soil for the future. So I usually like to do, mostly organics for the future of the rose bed, and then a mix of the synthetic because it is cheaper and the plants don't know the difference. If you want to get a little more fancy, for me, a lot of times it's just what's on sale and what's cheaper. You can buy some of what is in the tones individually. If you have Tractor Supply, any type of farm supply, you can get alfalfa. It's not meal, and all that means is it's not pelletized, or it's not pulverized, it is pellets. So you can get these alfalfa pellets. They're very, very useful. I do a cup around each bush, even if I do the tones. Another one you can do is cottonseed meal. I've got the label on here, 621. Both cottonseed meal and alfalfa pellets or meal are very slow release nitrogen. It has some, phosphate and potassium in there, but it's very, very slow release. Cottonseed meal is also good for your blueberry bushes and your azaleas because it will lower the pH of your soil. So again, you might have to counteract it with a little bit of lime, and that's what cottonseed meal is. So again, cottonseed meal, alfalfa, any of those are going to build for the future. We went over a lot. You don't need to do all this. Check your soil, see what your soil needs. Do you need to add lime? Get that pH corrected. Some type of synthetic fertilizer would be really good. And then again, if you can start adding a little bit of organics, if you want to do it simply, just get one of the tones at the big box stores, do a cup around each bush, and you're good to go. If you want to add some special ingredients, go for it. Alfalfa meal and cottonseed meal are two ones I recommend. We went over all of this, what to do, when should you do it? The most important time